Welcome to this week's episode. Today I'm talking to a real live patient, and you have such an amazing story to share. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Absolutely.
So a little bit of background. You've been seeing us for about a year. Mm-hmm. So you've had a long and really successful journey. Mm-hmm. Can you remember what you felt like when you first came in?
Well, I pretty much felt like I was going crazy and didn't know why, what was going on. I felt like it could have been hormonal at 51. I was just didn't really know what was going on with me.
Yeah.
And a very good friend of mine from Austin said, you've got to go see Dr. Susan. It's made such a difference in my life, and I couldn't wait. I could not wait. I called immediately, and my first day here was the only day I needed a tissue. Aww. Because my blood wasn't right, my hormones were certainly not right, and it was just causing everything in my life to just not be right.
Yeah, so you were really in that perimenopausal phase that we've talked a lot about. It's so difficult.
It is.
When we drew your blood, and frankly, even without drawing your blood, some of the symptoms you were presenting with were really typical, with irregular cycles and weight gain and loss of libido, energy, right? All the things, right?
All of the things.
Yeah, all the things.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll just share, when we first drew your blood, like you said, it didn't look that great. Your cholesterol was high, you were pre-diabetic, mm-hmm. and then you were really struggling with your weight, which I know is one of the most annoying complaints around perimenopause, right?
And no matter what I did, it's kind of a snowball effect, because no matter what you do, you're not seeming to be able to lose it, and at the same time, you don't have the motivation to do anything. It's like, oh, well, you don't have any oomph at all. And every single visit after that, I had hope. Things were getting better. My everything was getting better once my hormones were looked at, checked, and let's try this, let's up this and do this, and it was a hit out of the park, because
so happy to hear that.
It's been wonderful.
So some of the things, and this is so common, like what you described, I hear every day that mm-hmm. what I used to do doesn't work anymore, and it kind of feels like you've hit a brick wall. And you mentioned another thing that I experienced too, like it's really easy to say, well, just work out and eat less, but you have
mm-hmm.
no energy.
Or no drive.
Right.
You just kind of feel bad. Yeah. All the way around. Nothing really gives you, and especially when you've gained weight, you just you don't feel outgoing or anything. And once my hormones got in check and I was able to go on a diet that, was going to help, it changed my life. It absolutely changed my life. I feel like a different person.
Well, and you look like a different person.
Thank
you.
You
can see this beautiful lady. But your blood work looks really amazing, too, so I want to talk about that. So initially, these are some really common things. When you initially came in, I mentioned your cholesterol was high, mm-hmm. your sugar was high, you were already in the pre-diabetic range, you had insulin resistance,
yes.
Your thyroid was low, you were short of a couple of really important nutrients, your B12 was low, your vitamin D was low. So these are really common things. That's why we check them in every single patient.
Because even the small things like vitamin D or vitamin, you can just not even recognize that, and it just compounds, and you're just vacant of all the things that you need to get yourself going and happy.
To feel good, mm-hmm. right. Yeah, mm-hmm. I think perimenopause is exactly like you said. It's this sort of conglomeration of everything happening at the same time. Mm-hmm. So we've got all these hormone imbalances, we don't have any energy, and then family things, and then work things, and it can really feel overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people get stuck there and don't make the step that you did. So what gave you the motivation to make that first step? Because I know a lot of people listening are like feeling just like you did a year ago.
And it all started with my very good friend who lives in Austin, whose sister lived in Colorado, who had come to you, and she leaves Colorado to come here. My good friend from Austin comes here and stays with me the night before she comes to
Oh.
see you. And I knew, talking to her, how happy she sounded, and I couldn't wait to just put myself first, I guess. Put myself first, and I just feel like everything happens for a reason. And I spoke to her that morning for a reason. I was like, I feel like I'm going crazy. She was like, just need to have some things sorted out. And I called immediately, and I was so glad that I did, every day.
So if you're feeling like this, there is a way out, right? Because I remember feeling like that myself. Like, I feel horrible, and I couldn't see any hope for the future.
No.
I mean, you just can feel so hopeless and stuck. But there is a way out, and it can be as simple as just replacing the hormones that have been missing.
Oh, gosh.
And then you have this other really amazing part of your journey. Can you share what you weighed when you met us first a year ago?
I weighed, it was 190 on the dot. And I remember thinking to myself that I just, when did it get to this?
Yeah.
And looking at pictures, and I was just so depressed. And being 50, and turning 50 alone, you're like, I don't feel bad about it, but I certainly don't feel like I should. And, the weight really was a hindrance on how I felt about myself. And being able to lose, God.
How much have you lost in a year?
I have lost 45.
Yay.
45, almost 50.
That's amazing.
And, it just changed the way that I needed to feel. It turned off like this little light of, food noise.
Right.
Food noise. What should I eat? Do I need to get this? I have to cook for my family. And, I just had to break it to the family. You guys can eat what you want. Mm-hmm. This is where I'm going with this. This is what my journey is. And I wake up happy every day. So happy at my accomplishments. You guys always saying, "Oh my gosh, you've done so well," and it just, guys, boost my confidence. And not a day goes by that I'm not so thankful that I found you guys. And I have told many people that seem to have the same age, going through some things. I'm like, hey, guess what? I know somebody who can help.
There's hope.
There's hope
Well,
for you.
losing 50 pounds in a year is amazing, because, that's fast enough that you really can see a huge difference every month.
Yes.
So I imagine that feels pretty motivating.
It does.
Have you bought a whole new set of clothes?
Yes, I have. I have, actually, because things just fall off. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe that I'm just now seeing that in my clothes. And it's just so nice to not have to stress about what you're going to wear. Yeah. And, and that just brings everything to a happier level. Because when you're not happy with the way you look, and you can't lose it, and you're 50, and this and that.
It's a lot all at once.
It's a lot all at once.
Now, you started in our 12-week weight loss plan, and then you've continued in a maintenance plan since then. But even in that first 12 weeks,
that was the majority.
Yeah, you lost most of it in that first 12 weeks. So you were using semaglutide, which most of you know is also named Ozempic or Wegovy. How was it for you? It has some side effects for some people.
It did.
How did you feel?
I felt like as long as I had the things for the symptoms, or the symptoms when you first take it, you feel a little, maybe a little upset stomach, or you can't really quite put your finger on it. There are side effects, but nothing is compared to the benefits of it. And after, you go up slowly. I took a very small dose at first and just gradually made my way up. Yeah. And, sometimes 1 week I might do it and just kind of feel kind of crummy, and it'd last like maybe a day or so. But it definitely wasn't anything that I couldn't get through.
Right. So overall, you'd say the symptoms were manageable.
Oh, without question.
And we know that these drugs do have some side effects, which is why it's so important to be seen every 2 weeks, right? Because I think as you know, there are people in the community using it without
any
support,
kind of supervision.
And that would be difficult.
It would be, because I found that different spots made me less, feel less icky, if I kept it in my hip, that's why. But different people have different effects by where they inject it, and I've just never had anything that has wiped me out. But I make sure that in my purse I have like ginger, things that I know I have, and I find out I don't need them, but I have them just
so you
in case.
can be prepared. Kind of like when you're pregnant.
Yes,
You have to have
yes.
those things around.
Exactly.
Right? And one thing I'll share about you is out of this approximately 50 pounds that you've lost, very little of it was muscle, and that's the most important thing. So when patients, as you know, when you lose a lot of weight, frequently half of what we lose is muscle, and for you only a couple of pounds was muscle, which was really amazing. So how are you doing that? Are you doing strength training? Do you exercise? Yeah.
I walk my chunky dog like 3 times a day, and I find that walking and holding the leash and just getting my legs moving is really just as good as anything else. Maybe I should do some weight training, which but anything, getting out and just walking 3 times a day, twice a day is great. And
I bet your dog loves it too.
He loves it. And I found that, my legs are stronger, and, just getting outside and doing something is great. I didn't join a gym. I didn't start, stressing about, oh gosh, now I got to find a weight thing, because you can do anything in your house.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's really true.
Walk out the door and do stuff.
So we do talk about that all the time. Exercise doesn't have to look like, going to the hardcore gym and lifting weights with sweaty guys.
Right.
You might want to do that, but, walking your dog, that counts.
Walking your dog or walking other people's dog. I'm a pet sitter. So it's really, you can do your exercise with all kinds of cute little dogs and stuff. So
so that's why we call it exercise movement, because it could be anything that you like.
Anything.
And because we're watching your body composition every time you come in, we could see that you're not losing muscle, which has been so wonderful. So it's not just about looking cuter in your clothes, which you definitely do.
Yes,
but I want to share what I saw on your recent lab work, just to discuss what we started with. So when you first came in, we've talked about insulin resistance a lot. Your insulin was 9, and now it's 3. I mean, that's amazing. So an insulin of 9 is a little bit of insulin resistance, and 3 is like rock star low. I mean, amazing. Your cholesterol was a bit high. Your LDL went from 142 to 93. I mean, that's amazing without medication, just from exercise and weight loss. And then your fasting glucose when we met you was 109, which is definitely in the pre-diabetic range. Now we checked it, it's 88. Amazing. And then your vitamin levels were a little bit low. Now they're perfect, because I know you're being really good taking your supplements. And then we talk about hemoglobin A1C. That's that measurement that most doctors use to diagnose diabetes. When we met you, it was 5.9, which is really in the pre-diabetic range. Now it's 5.1. Which is perfect. I mean, so it's so amazing that you can have this transformation without taking, you would have been on cholesterol medicine, diabetes medicine.
Absolutely.
Increasing your risk of heart disease. You've probably increased your lifespan by multiple years.
That's what, when I got my blood report, and she called me, and she was just like, you've added years onto your life.
You really have.
And she said you should celebrate today. And I really did. And those words just meant the world to me. That you just think, oh, I'm fine. And then you get a full panel of blood work. You're like, wow. Ooh, no. That's
your body was screaming out for help.
Yes.
Well, and then I think too, having felt that way when I was perimenopausal as well, I can tell you there was a point when increasing my life longer didn't sound that great. I'm like, really more of this feeling yucky?
Right.
But when we can increase our lifespan and feel really well, I mean, that's just what we're here for, I think.
And absolutely take it in, take in what exactly you've done. Because even though the medicine helps and everything, you really have to just take it all in and just enjoy it, and your hormones being nice and the way they should be. is worth, gosh, everything.
So I want to talk to you about hormones. And now we mentioned your perimenopausal, of course, so you're still making a little bit of estrogen. You're still young. But when we met you, your testosterone was pretty much zero. As was mine. How does that feel when your testosterone is zero?
I don't know. And my estrogen was zero, too.
Yeah.
And so I guess really bad, because I never really knew that when something was depleting, how that really made you feel. Yeah. And I can tell you that I had no desires of any kind for myself, my hair. I just didn't care.
Yeah, I talk about this sometimes because I experienced that too. My testosterone was zero, and now I take testosterone supplementation, as do you. So we often talk about lack of sex drive, which I definitely had.
Yes.
No sex drive. But I also had no drive for anything, like you said, just like life drive. I just didn't want to do stuff.
Nothing sounded like, oh yeah, that sounds like so much fun. And then you start saying, do I not know how to have fun anymore?
Right. It used to be funny. I used to be fun. What happened? Where did I go?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I'll tell you, my husband is like, I love Dr. Susan. I love it, because it does. It just increases your libido. It just helps in every range of your life. Because if that's good, then this is good, then this is good, and it all just kind of, when you feel good, it's just,
it affects everything.
It affects everything.
And I think that's such an important point that some people don't understand. There's an idea that testosterone is only for improving sex drive. Well, now it does do that, but it is much more than that, like you said.
Oh, gosh.
If a friend invites you out, I would have the experience where I'd be like, I don't really want to go. I feel I'd rather just watch TV.
Yes.
Just that kind of blah feeling. So,
Very
it
much
can
so.
definitely affect your whole life and your sex life as well, but all of it.
And like I said, it had been years and years since I'd even felt any kind of, libido drive. Right. And I feel like so great, because my husband and I have very healthy sex life, and it's just, it makes life fun. Yeah. And I really didn't have a lot of fun for a lot of years.
Oh, it's supposed to be fun.
I know.
Right.
It's supposed to be fun. I'm like, I'm still young. There is still fun out there, but what's wrong with me? Yeah.
And that's that what's wrong with me question. I had the same thing. It's like, something's wrong. I feel crazy. I feel bipolar. Right. It can be really disorienting. So when people talk about perimenopause just like a little inconvenience, I think they're really missing how bad it can be, right?
Yes. If someone says that, they've never obviously been in that situation where you're just like, because I feel like my mother, they didn't really talk about, it wasn't like an open dialogue. You couldn't get onto a blog and say, what is wrong with me? So it was friends who were like, I felt like this too. This is what you need. Yes. And I have actually referred people to you that are good friends of mine that are like, I'm gaining weight, all this stuff, and here you go. And I know that a couple of them have come and they're just like, I am so happy. I just never thought that the way that I felt, because it creeps up on you.
It does, and it creeps up, and then it often gets dismissed when people say things like, physicians often, oh, well, it's just part of life, so get used to it, it'll pass.
Lose some weight.
Or maybe take this antidepressant.
Exactly.
Right, so a lot of information that makes us feel like, okay, something's wrong with me. The doctor said I was fine, but I don't feel fine. So, the root cause is hormone depletion. When we put those hormones back, it's really not rocket science.
No.
Now, in addition to the menopausal hormones that you had depleted, you also had low thyroid.
Yes.
Yeah, which completely shuts down our metabolism. So, when you replace a lot of things, it can be hard to know which one makes you feel better. But regarding the thyroid, have you felt like your metabolism's improved, your energy's improved?
Oh, my energy has improved. And again, it's like all these little things I never would have thought of with my thyroid and this. And you know, you get your concoction of the things you're missing, and it's like, I never would have been able to piece that together. Like, I wonder if my thyroid could get that checked, and then maybe another time try this and try that. But kind of got the all in one kind of, you know, we're going to keep watching her and make sure everything is on the level or good. And I finally had my year and the update I couldn't have been happier with.
Yeah, well, this is the annual lab work I was
Yes.
telling you about. I mean, it's gone from being someone who was actually getting quite sick to someone who looks as healthy as a 20-year-old.
Oh,
in good
my,
health. So
thank you so
really,
much.
really, really amazing. So I'm just so thrilled for your success, and thank you for sharing that, because just like you said with your friends sharing it with you, that opened the door for you to be able to get help.
Had I never called her and said, I feel like I'm going crazy. She was just like, you know, are you feeling this way and this way? She's like, I felt the same way. You need to go and have this looked at. And like I said, I never look back, and I thank her all the time, you know, and she feels the same way. She's like, I got everything. She feels fantastic. And,
well, not everyone has friends like that. So if you're someone who doesn't, then you're serving that purpose for a lot of other women.
I'm
So
glad.
thank you so much for sharing your story, because anyone can have this story. I mean, you can have the second half of life being healthier than the first, and really, like you said, being 50 can feel depressing, but now when you feel like this, it's pretty dang exciting.
It
right?
is. It's very exciting, because it gets very depressing to think, oh, is this everything for a woman? I mean, we already have so much stuff going on with us, and so is this all there is? And it's not. It's not. It's just, you know, you just have to put back in the things your body is getting rid of, you know.
That's right. Yeah, it's not the end. It's actually a new beginning. And you look absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And one of the things that you said that I love the most is that we should celebrate ourselves. So I hope you do celebrate how amazing the work that you've done over the past year has been. Because we were just here to support you. You did all the work.
Well, you guys, your support goes above and beyond. I mean, it really does. The support that you guys, every time I come in here, I love it. I leave beaming. And so that says a lot about just the people and how much they care, and you feel like you're in a little family, and it's great. It's great.
Well, I'm so grateful for you sharing your story.
Absolutely.
And I hope everyone can be motivated to ask for that help that you need, whether it's with us or with someone else, because you can feel this good too. And you're going to add years of healthy life to your life, as well as being happier and helping your relationships and all the other good stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Without question.
So happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.